I've had all I can stand, and I can't stand anymore. It's time to get snarky. Welcome back to the Wranglerstar question and answer. This is where I give snarky responses to mean comments I've received in the videos. So let's jump into it. Silverblue writes, that wasp nest that's in the ground in your yard that keeps stinging your family and everyone that comes to your house, those are God's creatures. You should just move it. Silverblue, you are not very smart. R.W. Jaws from the UK writes, people in the US are scared and uneducated. Do some boxing instead of running to Walmart to buy a gun. R.W., there's 3 things we don't need from you. We don't need your metric system, we don't need your soccer, and we certainly don't need your opinion about our guns. Donald Alm writes, I love my Fiskars, it's got a lifetime warranty. Well, Donald, it's a good thing because you're going to need it. Tom Jackson writes, do you dumb Canadians always run the tip of your saw and chain into the ground? In the USA, we avoid this. You know what? Us Canadians have forgotten more about cutting firewood than you Americans will ever know. Andrea Theus writes, there is a serious problem with Scandi knives. They are terrible for survival or for butchering game. Well, Laplanders have used Scandi Grand knives for centuries, surviving, butchering reindeer, but all let them know they've been doing it wrong. Tom Grizzly writes, are you ever going to invest in vinyl plastic siding? Those cedar shakes, they look bad. I think vinyl siding looks better. Yeah, I have been thinking about that, right after I adopt the metric system. Furious Groupie comments on my water filter video. Such stupid hillbilly ignorance. Humans and animals have evolved a natural filtering system, aka kidneys, that deals with impurities in water over millions of years. Well, Burius, I think we should put your theory to the test. Take a trip down to old Mexico, drink the water straight from the tap for a few days, and tell us how well your kidneys are evolving. James Bailey Jr. writes, in your next video, will you say my name? No, James, I won't. I don't do that, James. One Mud One writes, that is not Mount Fuji. You are a liar. Unsub. King James Believer writes, wait for it, here it comes. As a Christian, I am appalled that you watch Casey Neistat videos, proving the point that the Christian army is the only army that shoots its own. John writes, who is very clever I might add, I sure wish Wranglerstar would go back to making something other than axe videos, so the comment section could go back to complaining about the lack of axe videos. I had to think about that one for a minute. Silverfish1 writes, not enough axe videos, unsub. Zeusbolt writes, too many axe videos, unsub. Rahazel writes, it still amazes me every time I see that your conscience allows you to hang that charade of a cuckoo clock on your wall. The clock was handmade in Germany. Where do you think cuckoo clocks come from? My channel writes, because you have ignored my repeated warnings to stop using green screen, I am unsubscribing. I cannot support fake channels. What can you say to that? Jaybird writes in reference to the dishwasher video, why don't you just have your wife do the dishes? I dare you. I dare you to come here and say that to Mrs. W. Larry Tyser writes, Larry Tyser MD. We have a fancy one here. I always wonder about people that have to write the MD behind their name in comments. Isn't it kind of like the guy that drives around the bright yellow Lamborghini? This guy is a bowl of laughter here. Let's see. Makes me want to throw up. Traditional, handed down in my family for years, dictates that it must be termed brace and bit, not bit and brace. You idiot! I like your vlogs always, but this is a great faux pas and altogether unacceptable. Not to mention that the term being incorrectly used has turned many of my family's stomachs and assaulted our eardrums. I am no bleeding heart liberal and am very old school, but your repeatedly misusing the term almost has everyone ready to throw rocks at you. Get it right. Ho, ho, ho. Makes you want to hang out with Larry, huh? Good grief. Flo Bogerme from Germany writes, there is no difference between a pig that ate his whole life, just wasted food, and a pig that ate just the number one food. I am German. All right. Stephen Lavert from Australia wrote, another long-winded seppo. If you don't know that, that's a very derogatory term for Americans, demonstrating wasting time splitting butter. I'd like to see you splitting dry, gnarly piece of Aussie yellow box or red gum. Australia, Australia, that rings a bell. Isn't that a Chinese mine? No, it's not a Chinese mine. It's a U.S. military base. No, is it a British prison? I know what it is. It's that island off the New Zealand coast.